3 years ago, you wanted a raise. Today, you probably have one. Maybe you've had several. You earn more than you used to. You have a better job than you used to. A better lifestyle than you used to. So, here's a strange question. Why doesn't it feel like you've moved as far ahead as you expected? Why do so many people spend years chasing higher income only to discover they're still worried about money? Because the biggest wealth trap isn't debt. It isn't inflation. It isn't a bad investment. It's something almost everyone celebrates, a raise. And by the end of this video, you'll understand why some people become wealthy every time their income increases, while others quietly become more dependent on every paycheck. A raise feels like progress. Because it is. You worked harder. You gained experience. You became more valuable. The world rewarded you. And for a moment, everything feels different. You start doing the math. An extra few $100s a month, maybe more. You imagine what life could look like. The apartment you've been wanting, the newer car, the better neighborhood, the vacations you kept postponing. And that's the moment the trap begins. Not when you spend the money, before you spend it. Because your brain immediately starts assigning jobs to income you haven't even received yet. A strange thing happens every time people earn more. They don't just gain money, they gain possibilities, and possibilities are expensive. Nobody wakes up one morning and decides to buy lifestyle inflation. Nobody. People buy comfort, convenience, experiences, a better home, a better car, a better life. Lifestyle inflation is simply what appears afterward. It's the shadow those decisions leave behind. Imagine moving from a small apartment to a larger one. At first, it feels amazing. More space, better location, nicer surroundings. You walk through the front door and think, I made it. Then 6 months pass, and something strange happens. The apartment disappears, not physically, psychologically. The excitement fades. The new place becomes normal. The luxury becomes expected. And once something becomes normal, losing it feels painful. Even if you were perfectly happy before. That's the first invisible effect of a raise. The raise disappears. The obligation stays. Think back to the income you once believed would solve all your problems. Maybe it was $50,000 a year. Maybe $100,000. Maybe more. Now imagine telling your younger self that one day you'd earn that amount. Most people assume their younger self would be impressed. Instead, their younger self would probably ask, then why are we still stressed? Because the finish line moved. It always moves. Human beings adapt incredibly quickly. What once felt extraordinary becomes ordinary. What once felt luxurious becomes basic. And what once felt impossible becomes expected. That's why income growth often creates a strange illusion. Your financial position improves, but your feeling of financial security barely changes. So you keep chasing. Another raise. Another promotion. Another milestone. Convinced the next increase will finally feel different. But here's where things get interesting. Imagine two people, same age, same city, same job, both receive the exact same raise every year for 10 years. The first person upgrades their life each time. Not dramatically, just enough to match the increase. A slightly nicer apartment, a slightly better car, a few more conveniences, a few more luxuries, nothing irresponsible, nothing extreme, just small upgrades that seem completely reasonable. The second person does something different. Every raise gets divided. Part improves life, part improves the future. At first, the difference is invisible. A few $100s here, a few $100s there. Nothing worth discussing. But 10 years later, their lives look completely different. Not because one earned more money, because one protected something the other slowly erased. The gap. The distance between what comes in and what goes out. Most people think wealth lives inside income. It doesn't. Wealth lives inside the gap, and every raise gives you an opportunity to widen it or destroy it. This is where many high earners accidentally trap themselves. The trap isn't spending. The trap is commitment. A nicer apartment isn't a purchase. It's a monthly obligation. A luxury car isn't a purchase, it's a recurring payment. A bigger lifestyle isn't an event, it's a promise you're making to your future self. The danger isn't month 1, the danger is year 5, year 10, when your entire financial structure requires a certain income just to stay standing. And suddenly, something strange happens. You need your job more than ever. Not because you're poor, because your lifestyle became expensive. This is why some people earning 6 figures still feel trapped. From the outside, everything looks successful. The house is bigger, the car is nicer, the vacations are better, but freedom is missing. Every dollar already has an assignment. Every raise has already been spent. Every increase in income created another increase in obligation. And that's when the trap finally reveals itself. The goal was never more money. The goal was more freedom. Somewhere along the way, the two became confused. Quick question. Have you ever received a raise and thought, finally, things are going to change? Only to find yourself in almost the exact same financial position a year later? If so, you're exactly who this channel is for. Because here we explore the hidden systems that shape money, wealth, and human behavior. And the most important part of this story is still ahead. There is a day most people never notice. No celebration, no promotion, no announcement. Nothing dramatic happens. It's simply the day your money starts working harder than you do. The day your assets create more wealth than your latest raise. The day your investments contribute more to your future than your employer. And that day arrives much sooner for people who protect the gap, because every raise they preserved became fuel. Every dollar became an employee. Every investment became another worker quietly operating in the background. While someone else upgraded consumption, they upgraded ownership. That's the real difference. The biggest lie about raises is that they make people wealthy. Raises don't make people wealthy. Raises create opportunities. What happens next determines everything. Every raise arrives carrying 2 invitations. One says, upgrade your lifestyle. The other says, upgrade your future. Most people choose the first. The people who eventually become financially free learn to choose the second. And years later, when everyone wonders how they got ahead, it looks like investing. It looks like compounding. It looks like discipline. But the real decision happened much earlier, on a random day, when a raise arrived. And instead of spending all of it, they protected the gap. Because financial freedom isn't built by the raise itself. It's built by what remains after the excitement of the raise disappears. And that's the question I want you to think about today. If your income increased by 20% tomorrow, would your wealth increase too? Or would your lifestyle simply expand to meet it? If you found this perspective valuable, subscribe and join me for the next exploration into the systems that shape money, wealth, and human behavior. See you in the next video.